Oh man, Travis LeBlanc says the irony is delicious. For years, Nick's subordinates and AF were held hostage by Nick's neurosis as he LARPed as Kanye West. Now the tables have turned and Nick is a subordinate being held hostage by their neurosis of the real Kanye. Kanye is treating Nick like Nick treated his subordinates. Literally, literally. Like, Nick's gonna have to Tard wrangle Kanye. It's really rich because now Nick is like in a spot very similar to I was in. He's surrounded by egomaniacs. His life now is 100% dependent on Kanye West. And he knows that. That's why he did all this. And I was going to talk a little bit more about my take on this whole thing. But, you know, he leaves the show. I don't know who's funding this whole ordeal. I don't know if it's Kanye himself. I don't know if it's the Mercers. I don't know if it's someone else, you know, trying to fuck with Trump. Now, he's not the guy on top. He's like the third guy in charge. Like, he's the bitch of the group. And he really has two options, which is the same option that any AF general had, which was either be Nick's bitch, which is what most of them were, or, I mean, I was one of the few people that would actually be straight up Tard wrangle. Hey, maybe you shouldn't wear the GIMP mask on stage talking to a bunch of boomers. Hey, you know, maybe that's not the smartest idea. Now it's either he's a Beardson or he's gonna have to take a role of me. And if he Tard wrangles Kanye, then Kanye's gonna freak the fuck out, just like Nick did, right? He's gonna, oh, you don't support me. You're not a real loyalist. You're a traitor. You're a Judas. Or I don't know, man. I don't know. What a mess, though. That was hilarious. Silver says, nuclear Groiper Cope incoming. Yeah, exactly. They've been saying, Jaden's doing a Cope stream. We're having a blast. We're laughing. And this is what we've been saying. It's going to be content, ladies and gentlemen. It's going to be content. And I'm, you know, praying, please make it last. Please make it last a year, 2 years, all the way through. Could you imagine? Could you imagine? I agree with Medicare. The only way, you know, Kanye is all over the place. At any point, he could get bored, be like, oh, I'm over it. Oh, I'm moving on. Milo's this, Milo's that. I disavow, just like he did Charlie Kirk when he was like, Charlie Kirk took advantage of me. It could happen at any point, and I really hope it doesn't, because this is fucking gold. Artright says, this is Kino for days. We need a Jaden X RPG special to break down this shit show. Yo, is that the real Patrick Casey in chat? What's up, man? Congrats, Patrick Casey just got his Twitter account back. Very epic. Congratulations. Is RPG, are you in my Discord if you're watching? Because if you are, hop into a channel and I'll drag you in. Fun fact, Shaq, I've never spoken to RPG, ever. I've literally never talked to the guy. So it will be interesting to see. A lot of people are like, oh, you guys should do a show. You guys should do this. You guys should do that. But, dude, these people are all fucking coping so hard. We got, dude. Tim Pool is just, all of these people are coping. Dalton has posted 8,000. Holy fuck. He has posted at least 30 times in the last hour. We got a ton of Groiper Cope over on Telegram. Let's see here. We got Edward says the Tard that needed wrangling becomes the Tard Wrangler. Oh, the irony. Literally, man. I've never used Telegram. I know that that's what he uses. Okay, here we go. Bringing him in. Yo.
Hey, what's up, man?
Yo, what's up? What a shit show, huh?
Get the chance to talk to you, man. It's been a minute. We needed to do this.
Yeah, definitely. We've never spoken, which is wild. But after, I don't know, we've been talking for like 8 months, you know, but never actually on a voice call. That was fucking crazy, dude.
Yeah, so I just saw on Telegram, Nick, Milo, they're all making posts right now, and it's real. They left. They are not coming back. And I'm kind of disappointed because I was hoping that, you know, we've been waiting for this for like years. Nick has been talking about the Tim Pool interview, and I was actually hoping that they were going to get into it.
Yeah,
and
no,
then
for sure.
That's the way it ended.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I wasn't expecting it. I was sitting there watching, and I saw him storm off, and I was like, I was shocked, and I didn't know if Nick was still sitting there, if he got up and left too. But yeah, it is very, very funny that for 3 years, 2.5, they've been trying the Groypers. They've been sitting there shilling Nick in his comments. They've been behind the scenes getting people to go harass Tim Pool. They've been like, Nick has been trying to get on that show for at least 2.5 years. Even last week, John Doyle was on there, and all the Groypers are sitting there spamming him. A certain cozy streamer that won't be named was stream sniping the event. You know, oh, get Nick on here. Oh, Tim Pool. This Tim Pool needs to get Nick. And he got on there, didn't even say a full sentence before it all came crashing down. And,
yeah, his whole like energy has been like, I'm sure you've noticed this. His energy ever since his Kanye thing started has been like really weird, and like even like he just looks really weird and awkward standing next to Kanye. Like they don't look like they mesh well together, and it's just like even on the Tim Pool show tonight, he was just like, he just looked weird to me. Did you think that too?
I mean, the guy's looked like he's been on drugs. I don't know. The last week, every picture, his like face has no color. It's like totally flushed.
I noticed
he just
that too.
hasn't slept. I don't know. Drugs, hasn't slept. I don't know. Medicare is saying he got sodomized. I have no idea. I don't know. But
possible too. Could be a combination.
He does look out of it for sure. And you know, Medicare said this, and it is true, that the guy is hanging out with his idol. You know, he never in a million years, I bet this guy never thought that this would happen. And all this stuff's happening, you'd think that he'd be, you know, jumping for joy, but I don't know.
Yeah, well, I was saying today on my stream, I was saying that like my theory is that basically for him, like he knows that it's a golden opportunity, but at the same time, like he has Peter Pan syndrome, and he wants to watch SpongeBob for the rest of his life, and he wants to play with toys for the rest of his life. So to me, I feel like he's kind of at this crossroads where like he's still holding on to childhood. He doesn't want to grow up, but like at the same time, like this is Kanye West. Like he
Sure.
knows that he has to do this. So when I was watching on Friday night, like it was just really weird because it's this big announcement, and you expect he's gonna be like guys, I fucking made, you know, I don't know, just like popping
Right. No,
bottles
yeah,
of
I mean,
champagne.
he was fucking popping Pepsi Nitro
Right.
like 3 weeks
More
ago.
Loomer.
And yeah, literally. And now he's like falling asleep on his show.
Yeah, because I think he realizes that like shit, like I have to work a real job now. Like that's even actually, if you go back Friday night on Telegram, he actually specifically says, and I feel like it was kind of like a Freudian slip a little bit, but even specifically says that like it's time for me to go work in the real world now. So I feel like that was kind of his way of subconsciously saying that like it's not really what he wants to do, but at the same time, like if he's going to do this political show and he's been doing it for 6 years, and he wants to actually like, you know, like show the world that he's this serious political actor, then like he actually has to do something. And
Yeah.
it's not exactly the way that like I think anybody saw this story ending.
Sure. I think that's possible, definitely. I also think, you know, I know that from personal experience, the guy, while idolizing Milo and like looking up to him, he hated, you know, being around the guy. And also from experience hanging out with a narcissist like day in, day out, like Kanye West. You know, Nick himself is one, but he now, you know, he can't talk out of turn. He can't say what he wants to say.
Right.
Now he's like a slave.
He's deferring to Kanye.
Exactly.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
and he's never done that ever. You know, he's always been the guy on top. He's always been the guy making the calls. And I don't know. It's probably a big change for him to go from the guy on top, you know, big boss man, to third on the food chain. And
right, yes, yeah, that's funny because he's not even second in line. He's actually third in line now, and he's only ever been first. You know, he's not used to going on a show online, and he's third in line. You know, so first the focus is on Kanye, then it's on Milo, and then he's almost like this side character now.
Yep. Exactly.
So that's a big
unless you're watching a like cozy stream or something, like he is a side character. You know, they focus on Milo, even with the news in our circles, like Laura Loomer's blasting Milo, going after him, and Nick's just kind of there. when he's supposed to be, Hitler 2, 3, and 4. So I don't know. Maybe, and we don't know what's going on behind the scenes. Probably if
Well, that's a good point too, actually, because with the Milo Loomer situation, I've been all over that like all weekend, like going like a nut job on Twitter, and as I'm like putting all these tweets together, I'm actually it's weird to me because like in our sphere, Nick tends to be, like the focus of the story, right? Like you put a post out there, it says Nick Fuentes, that's what gets attention. But like now that I'm on Twitter and with this Loomer, Loomer and Milo conflict, all the tweets that I'm putting out there are about Milo because nobody actually knows who Nick is, and those tweets aren't getting the same traction that the Milo tweets are. So like it's interesting to see how normally, Nick has been the star of the show, but now that like we're kind of zooming out because Kanye's in the picture, he really has become far more or far less significant.
Yeah, no, for sure, and that will be interesting because I was going to talk about this on my stream. This whole Tim Pool thing kind of threw a fucking wrench in my plans, but I was planning to talk about the fact that he canceled his show because I was kind of like shocked that he would do that when. Now is when everybody has their eyes on him. Now is like, that was his biggest stream ever. And he's been stagnant for 2 years plus. His super chats have been like non-existent basically. Now he has an opportunity to make money on the side. He's not dependent on that. And also bring in other audience members. Like it would make sense even if this whole Kanye thing falls apart, he still has a show to go back to, and I don't think that he can't do that. But all these people that are looking at him because of Kanye, because of Milo, it's like the show is not being produced. Nobody knows who this guy is other than these random hit pieces. So I don't know if I had to guess, it's probably somebody's telling him, you can't do the show for whatever reason, whoever's behind this whole thing. Even if it's Kanye, because this guy continues to make an ass out of himself day in and day out every time he gets on the microphone. But I don't know. I don't know if he realizes, that it's all, he's now a slave. I don't know. I don't know what it is, but I think you're right. I think we're on to something there, and it will be interesting to see what happens. I know that you were mentioning like Cozy TV and what will happen with that, and all of his goon squad and whatnot. And it will be interesting to see over the coming weeks, months, if this even continues to be a thing. I mean, who the fuck knows? Kanye, they could blow it up at any point in time, but.
Yeah, there might be days left in this campaign, but going back to what you're saying as far as Nick's show, like I think it's a combination of things. I think that like Nick has been complaining about doing the show for a very long time. He's been complaining about the cost, but also you could tell he hates doing the show. He's like on average 2-3 hours late every single night. So I think he was happy to be presented with an opportunity that lets him stop doing the show without like looking like an asshole to everybody. But what you're saying makes a lot of sense because like wouldn't this be like if you were ever going to do the show, wouldn't this be the time to do it? Because it's like you're working for Kanye and that's great. That's going to get you exposure. But then like, how do you, like, what's the payoff? Like
right.
It'd be one thing if, okay, you're working for Kanye, your name is in the news sometimes, and then, by the way, this guy does a show,
exactly.
And then you're bringing people to Cozy, right. You're bringing people to your show. Also, when it comes to just doing the show, practically speaking, all he would really need to do is like an hour a night, like that's what Tucker Carlson does.
He could do it twice a week, 3 times a week, and literally give updates on like Yay 24, which would make sense if they're trying to mobilize the Groypers, boots on the ground, even though that doesn't exist because these people don't leave their house. But he was trying to pitch that to Joe Kent and other candidates, like, oh, we have an army of Groypers. If he could pitch that to Kanye, because I'm sure that the interns are the ones doing all the edits and everything for Yay 24, probably. Mobilize your base, keep those people interested, because I've heard both sides of things. I've heard the argument that like, oh, Cozy's going to totally fall off, nobody's going to watch the streams at all, and Nick's audience is going to go get a life. And I've also heard the argument that's like, Bean, Soy, and Baked, and these people will continue to mobilize people, and the cult will still continue just off of those people alone. I don't know. I think it's somewhere probably in the middle of that, and I don't know. unless someone higher up is telling him directly, even if he hates the show, from a strategic like standpoint, it makes no sense to me, especially when you're at the height of press coverage, to stop doing it. It just doesn't make any sense. And even as a backup play, like even if you hate it, do it a couple times a week. But I don't know.
Well, I think another factor may be that like either Milo or Khan, because the thing is once you're on someone's campaign, then you have to worry about guilt by association.
Sure.
And, like everything you say can be tied back to the candidate. So like for the most part, they don't want Nick going on a show and making statements, because now every single word Nick says can be tied back to Milo. So
yeah, no, I agree. Like the Tard wrangling thing is aspects there because the dude's a retard. But while I agree, and that's why I'm saying I think it's someone up top, whether it's Kanye or whoever. I mean, there's 1.5 million clips of Nick saying retarded shit already, and he's already associated with him. I mean, what's another clip of Nick shit talking white people or shit talking or flip flopping on an issue? Like there's days worth of footage of him already doing that, but who knows? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I get what you're saying, but I feel like there is a difference. Like I feel like there's a difference between old clips and holy shit, Nick just said tonight on his show something about the Jews or whatever. Fair. So, but I also wanted to say, as far as Cozy is concerned, I feel like I agree with you. Like I'm a lot of Groyper, like the Groypers are like ridiculously bad faith, and like you'll say one thing and like they'll like give you the worst faith interpretation of what you actually said. And I'm speculating, and I could be wrong. It's just speculation, but I think it's reasonable to speculate that, Nick has been complaining about Cozy for a very long. He has said repeatedly that it's very very expensive to run, and I'm sure it is, because not only are the maintenance costs a lot, but also he's paying like at least one developer, but I assume several developers to run the site for him. Now, like they could be getting paid slave wages, which they probably are because they're Groypers and they're slaves. But if they're not getting paid slave wages, then it's like to pay a developer's salary for a year. That's going to be.
He's never paid Zoomer Dev a dime. The guy,
really?
Yeah, the guy's crypto rich, so he's never paid him a penny. The guy does it literally for free.
Wow.
But like just like paying for bandwidth and stuff. Dev? What'd you say?
Is he the only dev, or
as far as I know, it was him and one other guy like did it part time. But that's just like the development stuff, which I don't know that things are really even being developed. It's kind of just like maintained. But like bandwidth costs and stuff, I agree it is very expensive. But also at the same time, who the fuck knows? This guy has, if it's Kanye, if it's Mercer's, these are like multi-billionaires or billionaires funding this. I don't know how much they're paying him, but I thought that way at first too. It's like, let the ship sink, but he's been working on Cozy this whole time, and maybe we disagree. But I don't see him shutting it down when that's like keeping the cult alive in a way. I think that people will start to like, start to phase out of it a little bit here and there. Slowly, people may go outside, may realize that the whole thing's a fucking joke. But Beardson, Baked, he has like all these people being his hype man, essentially keeping, and I'm sure he'll make appearances on their streams if he's allowed, and we'll still play games or whatever. And keep people engaged in like the Groyper culture or whatever you want to call it.
That makes sense. He might keep it alive just to sort of like keep like the cult, the culture alive. But either way, like if he's not going to be there on a regular basis,
I think that it will definitely see a dip unless we continue to see him in the news constantly, which, right now it's fresh. This is crazy. I don't know, like in a year, maybe they'll still be making headlines every now and then, but I mean, I don't think it will be to the extent that like right now is the I would assume the peak, unless something crazy down the road happens. But for the foreseeable future, I don't know. That's my guess. But I could.